Hi. See, I have explained projection of solids, one problem through this video, and that is regarding hexagonal pyramid. Just go through, and if you have any doubts, you can interact with me. This is a problem under hexagonal pyramid resting on one of its sides, of course the base sides, such that its axis is inclined at 30 degrees to HP, and the side on which it is resting is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So reading the problem carefully is very important, and these parameters you have to note down, and accordingly you have to construct it in the software Solid Edge. Now you consider the software. As usual, do the page setup, draw the XY line, and this particular hexagon in an usual way is to be constructed. Side is 30, angle is 0, next side is also 30, angle is 60, and similarly the remaining sides. The sides length are same, 30 degrees, 30 millimeters, and the angles are varying in an increment of 60 degrees, and finally that will be the closing side. You have to select the hexagon and you have to rotate it using rotate command. Select one of the point and then the edge, then rotate it. Switch off the multiple copy, that's very important. Now it's a pyramid, go to line command, draw lines representing the slant edges of the pyramid. As you already know the commands and the places where it is, to enhance the working area I am not showing the command areas. This is from the text command. All the base corners are marked as ABCD, and then the apex as O, and the axis point base is O1. Next is to draw from the line command and setting the line thickness to 0.13, the construction lines from each of these points. Of course, since many lines coincide, we will have only 3 vertical lines, and preferably the axis line is to be drawn separately so that we can show it as an axis line, that is vertical 60 mm. Take that line and make it as an axis line. You draw the lines representing the slant edges to the apex, and unfortunately that axis line is overlapped by a solid line. Now again go to text command for marking A dash, B dash, etc. There you are seeing A dash. Of course F dash should be in brackets as we can't see, and similarly we are marking the other points. Just observe here there is one more point of the base, that is O1 dash. At the extreme edge we are having the other 2 letters of the base, that is C dash and in bracket D dash. There we have forgotten that D point. Yes, mark the D point. And there is O dash, the top of the pyramid. Of course, we have forgotten O1 there, suffix 1. Make it as O1. The top portion is O dash. Base portion of the axis is O1 dash. Arrange the letters such that all are above XY line. The next step is to tilt this particular front view representing the inclination of the solid with respect to HP. It is inclined at 30 degrees. Therefore, we have to rotate the solid in the other direction, that is in clockwise direction, 60 degrees, so that the axis will be inclined at 30 degrees to XY line. Selecting the solid, of course, rotate command. Catch hold of the base point, next point, rotate. The angle is 60 degrees, so that the axis will be inclined at 30 degrees. Now draw the projection lines. Of course, we can move the whole solid a little closer so that we can get the space for the next front view. Oh, the multiple view should be switched off before doing this. Yeah, switch it off and then move the particular view closer to the previous view. Be careful, if it is too close, then the lines itself will overlap. There must be some gap. Now draw the projection lines from that front view downwards. These three lines represent the base. Similarly, corresponding horizontal lines for constructing the base are to be drawn. Yeah, for the axis and the apex, a longer one. Next, for the base edges. And the final line. Of course, these are construction lines and therefore must be very thin lines. There is a small gap there and therefore go to extend to next and extend it. Now, the lines, as I've already mentioned, are to be construction lines. Therefore, you have to select these lines and make it the thickness 0.13. Anyway, these lines are to be thick. Unfortunately, we are drawing it thin. You can draw it thin and make it thick, or once and for all, you can draw thick lines. Now you select it. Yes, there appears to be an error. For such clear drawings, exact point locations, sometimes it is better to zoom it. Or be careful, only when you are seeing the intersection symbol, yeah, like that, you press the button so that it will be in the exact position. There is a problem there. There is a small extension of the line and it prompts you to take the end of the line. Therefore, in such cases, better to zoom it and then do it. That I'll show you now. Zoom area command will make you to see it from very close. So now it is simpler for you. There is this starting point, and look at that. Yes, now it's okay. You can zoom back, or you can go for text and then zoom back. Anyway, and line is required from the apex so that you will get the intersection point as the apex. Join lines for the apex from these points of the base. You join it for the apex. Exact intersection point, and then to the base, and similarly another base point to the apex, to the another base. Two more are remaining there to the apex and back to the base point. So all the 6 slant edges are over, but it is resting on that particular edge, so that should be dotted line. Select that line and make it dotted because it is resting on the base, one of the base sides. It is not only that particular line, but the lines going to that particular dotted line are also dotted. Select those lines which are 4 there, 4 lines which are going to that particular line, and make them also dotted. Trimming is a very important activity. Do the trimming to clean up the area. All the unwanted lines are to be trimmed off, and only required lines are to be there. And if very small portions are to be trimmed off, best thing is to zoom it and do. Again, the zoom area command will make it clear. Zoom that particular area and see the lines that you have to trim. Go to trim command, and now you can trim such small lines. That is the axis line. To make it visible as axis, remove or trim the construction line. Draw a fresh line from the base point, that's O1, to O, the apex. Then take or select that particular line and make it axis line, not dotted line. Axis line. That is axis line now. After this, you can just take text and make possible texts, that is the base points A, B, C, D, E, and also the apex. Now observe that the hidden lines are decided by one simple logic. The edge on which it is resting is not visible, and therefore the lines connecting the corners of that edge are also not visible. So upon this logic, without confusion, you can easily draw the hidden lines. Now we have to mark ABCD for the second top view also. For moving and rotating the second top view to the next position where the edge on which it is resting is inclined to VP at 30 degrees, normal mistake you do is first you will select, but there is no reference line yet. Therefore, selecting this will not help at all. First we have to draw the 30-degree line as the reference line, and then only we have to draw the selection. That I will show you now. At any convenient distance, draw a 30-degree line. Of course, remember that 30-degree reference line need not touch XY line. Draw any other reference line, and for that reference line, draw 30-degree line. Since you drew the reference line parallel to XY line, the line that you are drawing will be 30 degrees to XY line. Of course, you can check that 30 degree by measuring the angle or marking the angle. There you have to mark the angle 30 degree, and then select as usual the second top view, of course along with ABCD letters. And the most important thing is you have to hold the corner of the edge on which it is resting. The intersection symbol will indicate that you are holding the proper corner. Then shift it. Of course, you have to switch on the multiple view. Place that corner exactly on the line. And then next command is rotate command. You have to hold the corner again for rotate command and select the edge on which it is resting, and then rotate it, align it to the 30-degree line. This time multiple copies should be switched off. So it is aligned, and if you are in a doubt you can zoom it and correct it. Once you align it to the final position, you can draw the projections. That is, from the base you can draw the projection lines, that is construction lines. Of course, one of the baseline is coinciding with the apex. The remaining lines you draw, and you start from the corresponding baselines A, B, C, D, E, F. Since these are construction lines, it will be light lines. The base axis line you draw at the end, otherwise it will be confusing. That line is already coinciding with the apex. Now draw the horizontal line from A dash, B dash, etc. Of course, from there it is the XY line itself. Now you think of joining the lines starting from A. That is, you are now constructing the base portion of the final front view. You select the point A, which is at the topmost position of the base, as you can see from the previous front view. So it is the coinciding point of A and A dash. Go to the thick line option of 0.5. Start from A and observe that it is in the clockwise direction. That is, there is the B. Similarly, C dash, E dash, f dash, etc. One of the very important points that you have to note down here is the base is visible in the second front view. So all the lines of the base are not dotted. Now find out the apex construction line from the previous front view, and it coincides already drawn line from the previous top view, and that is the apex. From there go to the 0.5 mm line option. From the apex join lines to all the base corners. Remember, it is a hexagonal pyramid and therefore there must be 6 lines. One of the important thing is these 3 lines are visible lines, and this line, the next line and the next line are hidden lines. The hint is from the previous front view. With some thinking and imagination, you can decide these hidden lines in the final front view. Make those 3 hidden lines dotted. Remember, in drawing, accuracy is very important, and once you zoom it, if you can find some inaccuracies, correct it. There is the axis line from the base projected to the top, that is front view. Join the axis line, convert it into axis line, the symbol short dash and long dash. There is the end of it. The trimming is remaining. As I have already told you, you can zoom it and see for errors. Yes, that last line from the apex appears to be not touching perfectly. That can be seen by further zooming. For trimming also zooming is required to trim out small lines which are in between the solid lines. By chance, if you trim out an unwanted line, you can just use undo command. That will be restored. Yeah, there requires further zooming, and of course that line which is not correctly coinciding, and therefore you can just further zoom it, delete it, and redo the same line accurately. Of course, that is a thick line, 0.5 mm. What we have deleted is the line from there to the exact base point. All these finer corrections you can do by zooming it and seeing it. The text part is required. The base is visible. All the lines are visible lines. Only those 3 lines are dotted lines. Now mark it A dash, B dash, then the base edge is C dash, D dash is on the edge on which it is resting, E dash, F dash. There is O dash, the apex, and the base of the apex is O1 dash. It is the base of the axis, O1 dash. Then comes little more zooming. for trimming. Yes, those finer lines can be trimmed off, and you can further zoom it for trimming of even finer smaller lines which are not required. Yes, that is also not required. Anyway, finally every unwanted lines are to be trimmed off by suitably zooming the diagram, and finally fit it. We have satisfied the given condition that the axis is inclined at 30 degrees to HP and the edge on which it is resting is inclined at 30